Out here we try to read the hand of Robert Vadra, see its strength and what palmistry tells about his hand. What we see is that the heart line is starting under the Saturn finger. Saturn finger is basically for materialism, and the person is also responsible towards he cares about. So his heart line is starting under the Mount of Saturn, making him materialistic, and he loves money. But the heart line, what we see is that it doesn't start with a curvature. It is kind of straight. Straight heart lines basically means the person can keep his emotions in check. He does not like to display his emotions. If the heart line is distinct and clear, the person is highly focused, and the person practices detachment. Detachment does not mean that the person might not love money, but basically he lives by the moment, and he doesn't have any stress levels. He is able to cope up with stress very well, and the more the difficult circumstances in his life, the better he is going to perform, and he would come out of all the problems very easily. There would be times when the difficulty comes, but in those difficult times he would be able to stand up for himself or for his loved ones, and handle all the problems, and solve all the problems easily. What we also find is that if the heart line, this heart line had many branches and all, it would mean that the person is flirtish. But we find that the heart line does not have any branches over it. It is singular. Singular lines are better than a line which has many branches. Singular line basically means singular focus. What we also find is that the Mount of Jupiter is appearing to be prominent, and whenever it is prominent, it means that the person has got good organizational skills or political skills. He understands politics, and he can play the game of politics in a better way compared to others. And we also find that the headline is curving a little bit downward towards the Mount of Moon. The headline is not curving really deep, but just a bit. It means that the person is imaginative, is काल्पनिक. इस व्यक्ति में कल्पनाएं हैं, and it means that the person is a visualizer, he's a lover, and he can such a headline can also be found in the hand of an artist or a businessman or even a scientist. Any kind of people can have a sloping headline towards the Mount of Moon. Moon basically is for romance, and moon is basically for visualization skills. So all these skills is there. We also find that the headline and the lifeline are barely joining, so he is able to time his decisions really well. We also find that if we look a little bit more clearly, his Mount of Venus is prominent, and the Mount of Mars also doesn't appear to have fewer lines, and it is a little bit raised. So whenever the Mount of Mars is good, it means that the person has got fighting spirit, and if the Mount of Venus is prominent, it means that the person has got good amount of energy levels, vitality, stamina, and he has the energy to give love and take love, and he loves beauty and art and music. All these things are there. What we also find is that he doesn't appear to have a straight line, or maybe probably the image quality is not not so good, so I'm not able to really make out if he has a fate line or not. Even if a person doesn't have a fate line, still the person can do really good, and having fewer lines is always better all over the palm, and the person doesn't get the person's focus is intact. If there are fewer lines, if there are more lines, then the person creates confusion in his own life. We also find that he has got a mole out here on the Mount of Venus. This makes it really important. This mount then becomes important. Mount of Venus becomes much more important. Mole anywhere, wherever we find a mole, it brings much more importance to that particular mount. It can bring in bad qualities as well as good qualities to that particular mount. Basically, Mount of Venus is also for magnetism, the person's ability to attract their partner towards them. So he has that particular quality. It also makes it brings in much more vitality, stamina, the ability to give love and take love and give love. They love luxuries, and they have got a really good taste. So all these things come from a good Mount of Venus as well as the mole. If the mount was depressed, then the person lacks the energy. Out here the mount is prominent, but I am saying if we find that the mount is a little bit depressed and is not prominent, and there are too many lines over it like this, or confusing lines like this over the Mount of Venus, then the person is wasting his energies. But out here we see that there are fewer lines, so the person does not waste his energies, and it's a good hand to have. I doubt anything is going to happen to him. He would come out of all the problems in time to come, and that's it. If you like the video, click on the like button and do subscribe. Thank you very much for watching.